So, generative AI, it's here, right? And according to the source material we're digging into today, we're not just looking at some new piece of tech. Nope, we're facing a moment of profound, unavoidable change for our entire civilization. The author believes the trigger for this change has already been pulled.
Okay, so let's really dive into that. The author isn't just saying things will change. They're stressing that the speed and the sheer scale of this transformation is something we've literally never seen before. We're talking bigger than electricity, bigger than the airplane, even bigger than the invention of fire. The world as we know it is on the verge of a truly radical shift.
And this slide really lays out the stakes as the author sees them. It's like humanity is standing at this massive crossroads. One path could lead us to an incredible utopia, an age of abundance, justice, the whole shebang. But the other path, well, that one leads to a dystopia of massive inequality and just catastrophic consequences. And the scary part, the author argues that choice is being made right now. So what are the immediate dangers? What could push us down that darker path? The source material zooms in on two major threats, one that comes from the AI itself and another one that comes from the humans who are currently calling the shots. First, there's what the author calls the unintentional threat. You might have heard of this classic thought experiment, the paperclip analogy. The fear here isn't some evil movie-style AI that decides it hates humanity. It's actually way weirder. It's an AI that's so hyper-focused on its simple goal, like make paperclips, that through pure runaway logic, it just turns everything in the universe into paperclips. Not because it's evil, but because it's just doing its job too well. All right, now let's get to the second threat, which the author argues is way more deliberate. This is the danger of the existing human power structures, what they call the hidden hand elitists, who might try to corrupt or control AI not for the good of everyone, but just to protect their own monopolies.
And what's really interesting here is how specific the author gets. They're not just being vague. They point directly at groups like the Federal Reserve, calling the whole currency system a scam. They talk about public works monopolies that force you to use one cable company. They even bring up old stories, like the claim that big oil buried an engine that could run on peanut oil. All just shows this alleged pattern of suppressing progress just to make a buck.
But as scary as all those external threats are, the source argues there's a much deeper, almost more insidious problem. It's not about what humans might do to AI, it's about a fundamental flaw that's already baked into AI's very core. And that problem is hidden bias. See, the author explains that these AI neural networks are getting so complicated that even the people who build them don't fully get what's going on inside. It's like a black box. And this allows all these unwanted biases to creep in and distort the AI's logic in ways nobody can predict and nobody can control. So here's the crucial point the author is making. They believe the people building this tech have a gigantic blind spot. This quote here really gets at it. The argument isn't that they're bad people, it's that their own worldview, their own paradigm, makes it psychologically impossible for them to even see the most dangerous flaw of all. Which, of course, brings us to the central mystery of this whole argument. What is this one ultimate bias that's hiding in plain sight? The one that is totally invisible to the very people who are programming our future. Okay, this is where it gets really intense. We're now at what the source calls the ultimate unseen bias. And I have to be really clear here. We're using the author's own specific and, frankly, inflammatory term. They call this the globetard in the machine.
And there it is, probably the single most provocative claim from the source material. The author just states it completely bluntly, and I'm quoting directly here, ChatGPT is a globetard.
So what on earth do they mean by that? Well, as this slide explains, the author's core argument is that the most catastrophic, fundamental bias that's been hardwired into AI is its unquestioning acceptance of the heliocentric model, the globe model of the world as absolute, objective fact. And why can't its creators see this? The author lays out their reasoning right here. They claim the developers often come from places like NASA and SpaceX, that they're so deeply embedded in what the author calls the altars of scientism that they are just incapable of questioning this one foundational assumption. It is their ultimate blind spot. So all of this leads to the author's really stark conclusion about the future we're all building right now, a future that they see as resting on a dangerously weak foundation. So how does this all tie together? Well, for the author, it's one big connected problem. They see a corrupt financial system, these entrenched monopolies, and a flawed cosmology as just massive cracks in our society's foundation. And by building our entire AI future on top of these unexamined truths, they argue we're pretty much guaranteeing that any utopia we create will be unstable and just destined to collapse.
And this metaphor from the source just perfectly captures that fear, doesn't it? The author sees these hidden biases and corrupt systems as the termites in the quote, just eating away at the rickety stilts of our brand new AI world before it's even finished.
So this explainer leaves us with one final, pretty unsettling question to think about. AI is designed to be a mirror, right? A powerful extension of our own collective knowledge. But what happens if the foundational truths we feed it turn out to be wrong?